Oh, yeah, it's just taking its time. There we are. Hello, and welcome to another episode of For the Love of Sports. My name is Michael Rasile, and this is the show where we get to talk about business, we get to talk about sports, and we get to talk about everything in between. Today, two-time guest, recurring guest, incredible person, Jason Bergman, co-founder of Marketpryce, is here with me, and we're going to be talking a little shorter episode, but we're talking NIL. If you guys remember, if you don't, I'll put the show in the show notes. You can go back and check out what Jason does at Marketpryce. See, I wanted to say place. I cut myself off and then I kind of bunched it together. Jason, tell us a little bit about Marketpryce, what you guys do. Remember, remind the audience, if I may.
Yeah, you're probably spending way too much time looking at that glorious mustache you have.
It's
I am
hard.
too, so I
It's
hope
hard
I can
not.
pay attention.
I catch my own eye. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
It's probably interesting. You're like a shorter episode. I'm like, did I blow it the first time? Is that why it's a shorter episode this time? Or you're just
No,
like, I want to get back to time in the bathroom, looking at my mustache, making sure it's combed properly. I don't know.
I'm not gonna tell
I'm just
you,
very
but
jealous.
you're right. You're definitely correct.
I mean, you did send me like 10 selfies of you and your mustache in the bathroom before this episode, and you're like, Jason, I'm ready. I'm excited. Should I wear my Duke shirt? That actually happened. Listeners, no, that didn't happen. That would be
It
weird.
happened.
What was the question again? It was
Tell
remind
me, tell me
everybody
about
else
your
what market
company.
price is.
Yeah, tell me about your company. Let's start with that.
I'd rather talk mustache. So market
Me
price,
too.
yeah. So we are a two-sided marketplace where professional and now student athletes can connect with brands for endorsement deals. We launched in January of this year. I forgot when our first episode was, but we're bigger now than we were before, which makes sense. We actually just surpassed 1,000 professional and student athletes on Marketprice available to work with. Thank you. Over 250 companies as big as CBS Sports and Allbirds and Public.com and Fashion Nova and Zappos. The list goes on. All the way down to smaller, like local businesses that just want to connect with athletes for deals. And we actually just surpassed over 1,500 deals on the platform.
Whoa.
And I didn't even tell you this. It's exciting. We're actually in the midst of raising our first significant round of money. We're raising $2 million as a seed round, which should be wrapped up. I know you release these episodes pretty quickly, but we should be wrapped up by the end of the summer to really continue scaling this team. So I'm excited.
Congratulations. Yeah, I saw you guys are hiring a bunch of people too. So if anybody out there, or at least you were within the last couple of weeks, I saw something on LinkedIn. I don't know if did that position get filled?
Well, we've been hiring a lot. We grew the team
Hell yeah.
by 50% this month, and we're
Whoa.
looking to get another person on top of that. And with money that we raise, we're looking to hire more people. That's what you spend money on, really, really good people. So we brought on our first ever account manager. Her name's Ashley. She is an absolute rock star. So like before she joined, any single athlete or agent or company that heard about us heard about it from me. Any company or athlete or agent who signed up to Marketprice only could talk to me. I was their person of contact, and got to the point where I couldn't even I don't know. I was too busy to even pick my nose, let's say, Mike. I was doing a lot of things. We needed to bring in really smart people to come in and really scale those efforts. So Ashley has been unbelievable. All of our brands and athletes and agents like her better than they like me, which is exactly the goal of why she's here. And then we brought on our first ever salesperson as well. So his name's Peter Brustis. He is absolutely crushing it, and he's been unbelievable so far, like tripling the numbers that I've been hitting. And yeah, we're looking to continue growing out the team.
Congratulations. Shout out Ashley. Shout out Peter. Yeah, it turns out if there's not one person doing everything, it's a little easier to get stuff done. How's that sound? Did I lose you? Oh no. See, this is why we do it live. Jason,
Hey, you still there, Mike?
you're back. What's up, man? Long time no see. No, I was gonna say
Yeah,
if you bring on help, it turns out when one person isn't doing everything, more things get done. Pretty groundbreaking stuff.
exactly. I mean, one of the things is I know you're kind of joking, but also totally serious. The big thing for me is like if you're a first time founder like I am, you could mess up a lot. So the more you can read about where other first time founders messed up, you could be like, oh, cool, I'll avoid that. One of the biggest things is hiring positions that you don't know what success looks like. Not to get way too off topic already, but like I was doing account management, so I knew what success looked like there. So I could help that person scale
Hmm.
up and just do a better job than I was. Same thing with sales. So that's something that's really helped in the process of even in the interview process, right? Like I know what traits to look for. I know when these people come on, what numbers they should be hitting. And I mean, the fact that Ashley and Peter have been crushing the numbers in their first like 2 weeks, let alone like 2 months of starting, is unbelievable. Very lucky to have people like that on our team.
I love it. Shout out Ashley and Peter. And as you said, you're going to be hiring a lot more people. And if you guys listen to the first conversation, you're going to listen to this one. It's a pretty cool company you guys got running over there. So again, we spoke a lot about you
Yeah.
and the company last time. You gave us a nice little overview there. Now I really want to kind of dive into the NIL discussion a little bit, because one thing we kind of saw, I want to say last summer, all these colleges started partnering with all these different kind of, I guess, Marketpryce esque companies, right? Like, here are the brands, here are the athletes. Let's marry together. You guys obviously take everything from a different approach, and I think it's absolutely incredible. It doesn't cost anything for a brand. It's a monthly
Mhm.
subscription for an athlete. So you get all of them whenever you want, in a month, in 10 months, in 100 months, whatever that ends up being. So let's talk about NIL a little bit. What exactly is NIL, name, image, likeness, from your perspective? What are you seeing?
Yeah. So, I mean, the definition of it, right? And I'm sure people say it a lot smarter than I'm about to say it, but it just stands for name, image, likeness, what you exactly said. It's basically the fact that now college athletes can monetize their name, image, likeness, which, I mean, obviously I'm biased, right? Because our business model has a lot of college athletes into it. But if you have no idea what it is, it's basically college athletes being able to make money for using their name, image, and likeness, which should just be something that they get at birth, right? That they should be able to
Yeah.
use. Most of the examples we've seen are, think about an athlete getting paid in either free product or in cash to post on social media. But even things like, let's say, a tennis player being able to host a private lesson, and an athlete paying like a student paying that athlete to take that lesson, an athlete creating an apparel line, things that normally are praised, right? Entrepreneurship, right? Like before this year, before July 1st, college athletes couldn't do that, right? They would be ineligible and they would lose their scholarship most times. So, I mean, long, long, long overdue. Before we were even born, the NCAA and NCAA students have been fighting over this. So I mean, it's about freaking time that it's been happening. And I mean, our total addressable market increased over 10x overnight, literally on July 1st. So it has been an absolute whirlwind these last 4 weeks, but it's been a whole lot of positives and a whole lot of exciting things that I'm sure you'll ask me about and we can talk about. So,
Yeah, I
yeah, hope
think
that, how was, yeah,
I think that was a great definition. I think you did an awesome job. No criticisms from my end, so keep doing your thing, Jason. I'll probably have you back on soon. But no, in sincerity, I really think, like, it
very
never
kind.
made sense to me. Like, okay, I get maybe not just directly handing. There's the argument that you shouldn't have Alabama pay their football team. There is an argument there. Which side of the argument you're on, there's an argument there.
Mhm,
To not allow athletes to use their name, image, and likeness, especially now in social media, makes
mhm,
absolutely zero sense to me, right? Like, if you start a
mhm,
YouTube page when you're 15 and you get ad revenue on that YouTube page and then try and go to college, they're going to say you can't come because you made ad revenue on stuff that you
mhm,
did when you were 15. That makes zero friggin' sense, especially again now with social media and everything going on. It's just it's great. I'm happy for all the athletes. I was never one of them, but I think it makes sense. Like, it never made sense to me how you can tell someone, like, if you're a regular student at the school, you can have a YouTube page and
mhm.
make money on it. But if you're an athlete,
Yeah.
that's totally illegal.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're going to look at the overwhelmingly positive side, which I cannot be more on board with, like, I couldn't agree more that you should be able to monetize your name, image, and likeness. The off thing, like, there's one deal that's happening right now that I could actually see going, and it's been all over the news. There's a Miami gym paying every single Miami
Yes.
athlete on the Miami football team $500. If an athlete isn't doing anything and they're just getting paid $500 a month by a gym, that clearly crosses the line, kind of, right? Like a gym is paying an athlete. Now, if they are doing something and if they're promoting it and it's a just totally justifiable deal, I totally see it. That's like such an outlier of
Yeah.
a deal. And if done right and policed right, which isn't rocket science, like, it should be so easy to be able to police these deals, right? Like, they literally just need to disclose it. Like, that's it.
Hmm.
So if done right and if policed well, which it has been for these first 4 weeks, I mean, at least there hasn't been something drastic and horrible. And I'd like to think marketplaces like Marketpryce, yeah, I did what you did.
Hey.
Marketplaces like Marketpryce can really help that, right? Open Doors, Influencer, Icon Source, these other marketplaces being able to be like the Airbnb, right? Like you're not going to get screwed out of a house renting through Airbnb because it's a unbiased third-party marketplace. So just being able to be smart about these deals is really important, and not letting the 1 in a million chance ruin it for everybody. Which I think that's what the NCAA is most scared of.
Yeah, but let's get rid of the NCAA because they're just a bunch of bureaucratic assholes anyway. So we can kind of get rid of them, and I think everything would probably
Yeah.
be better. But that's another conversation for another time. Their demise is coming. I think this was a very big toppling point. They still tried to make it illegal, and all these states are like, no, we're still just going to legalize it. And they're like, oh yeah, we legalize it too now. It's fine. It's like, all right, guys, keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
You guys are super useful. So I guess, as you said, your business 10x, the opportunity for your business 10x overnight. What did you do? Because we kind of knew this was coming for a little while. It was like it was like weirdly hush hush. And then when it happened, everyone's like, here we are. This is the new world we live in. Let's get it. What were you
Yeah.
guys doing up to July 1st to just, I guess, get ready? Because it's not like you had to do anything super different, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were already in the space with the pro athlete side. It's being aware of the legislation that is still more or less changing every day.
Yeah.
Just trying to read everything and be on top of everything. In general, a startup is like you jump off a cliff and you're building the plane as you jump off, right?
Just
That's just normal
hopefully
startup life.
finished by the ground, right?
Yeah, and like it's actually kind of funny. Evan is our marketing manager, another rock star. He's a former intern at Marketpryce, and we hired him because he was just too good. I'm like, don't work anywhere else, just work here. And I tell all of our employees, right, like just don't work after like 5:30. Just turn your computer off. Don't pay attention to it. June 30th, the NCAA, your favorite organization, they made it from 10 states can do this to like all 50
Mm-hmm.
at like 7 o'clock p.m. If you look back at the timestamps. So Evan came in July 1st, and he was like, oh, cool. So we have athletes. He had like a whole map ready. Like, cool, we'll send it out to our brands, college athletes in these states. And I'm like, dude, scrap that. It's a free for all. It's
Mm-hmm.
all college athletes can sign up today. And I mean, we had literally hundreds of people signing up. Like I spent the entire 3 days, 4 days after July 1 just sending welcome emails for myself. Like I didn't have time to do anything
Mm-hmm.
else. And I'm like, welcome to Marketplace, welcome to Marketplace. Happy to help, because you want to hug everybody on the way in. And it's just been absolutely madness. I forgot the question you brought up because we got off topic already. So Mike, I'll let you
No,
go
I think
back. But
I don't remember the
yeah,
question either. I'm sure you answered it.
nice.
No, yeah. What did you do in the lead up? So yeah, as you said, it sounds like you guys had some
Oh
shit in the
yeah, yeah,
lead up, but it honestly,
yeah,
snap your fingers and everything changed, so it didn't really matter. So I guess
yeah.
as you said, a couple hundred people those first few days. Everyone was still kind of confused on it. I'm assuming most athletes probably had no idea what was going on. Most brands were probably like, is this what, I don't know. Like, how do we, so like, how were you guys able to help facilitate those deals? How were you able to facilitate those conversations just to get people going and just being like, no guys, like we got the laws down. Let's roll. Like
Mm,
do what we got to do.
yeah.
Free, like as long as we're doing one for one, is again, it's a marketplace. So we need two things to go back and forth.
Mhm.
How are you guys able to facilitate those conversations, those negotiations, and really help out both sides of the conversation?
Yeah, I think what we did for like athletes is just safeguarding it. Like we don't have brands that can get them in trouble. Like there's no strip clubs, there's no like outside the
Yeah.
box companies that are
The
clearly
gambling
not
companies. Whoops.
able to, gambling companies, not
Tobacco, liquor.
alcohol, CBD, liquor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those
That's
companies,
about
it's
it
just
though,
like
right?
we're not even, yeah. And I mean that's one thing that we did to make sure. Two is we really tried to talk to every student athlete, and we've still been trying, and we're still catching up with a new salesperson, with account manager, with me doing it. But just being able to one-on-one educate and like build those real authentic partnerships. But I think more or less just like making it so easy to use, like, and not to, I mean, tech solutions, right? Like you want to make it easy to use where you don't really need a human being to do it. If you're a student athlete, like we had a student athlete literally in 3 minutes. I don't know if you saw, I posted it on LinkedIn
Hmm.
like last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. She applied to a campaign. The brand sent her a proposal. She accepted. It was 3 minutes. And then we just need to help her disclose it and bring it to the university. But like, it should be that easy to be able to find cool companies that you care about, receive offers from companies that you're interested in, and be able to just provide a platform like what you said, what you get ready to do. Like we had the platform already that works, that's done 1,500 plus deals already. Like that is something that we already had in store of just delivering a really easy to use solution. But then also, like you said at the top of the show, I mean, I'm shouting out Evan, our marketing manager, just like mass education, right? Like we're sending
Hmm.
out emails all the time of like social media tips, like make your profile public, make sure you have your name in your Instagram bio. So if a company's looking for you, you score 4 touchdowns, people are going to want to go follow your social media accounts and follow you, right? If you type in the name, and so many athletes have done this and it makes no sense, and we're helping them change it, but like you'd have like a nickname in your
Yeah.
Instagram bio or not your actual name. And it's like, just bring your name, go on public, do the most necessary things to make sure that you're at least putting yourself out there to these brands and make yourself accessible for these deals, and just education, right? Like that's something that I mean, I don't see anyone really doing it really well. Education side, we're doing the branding really well, the accessibility to brands really well. Education's another nugget that we want to dive into, but I mean, maybe for another conversation. I also think universities are going to play a bigger role as that continues, right? As this becomes more commonplace, universities are created to educate, obviously. So like, we don't need to educate too much because universities are going to take that. I hope. I really hope. You said, I think so. There should be NIL classes.
Universities were created to make money. I'm kind of cynical when it comes to this shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, but no,
Okay,
and
okay.
I think one thing that we've been seeing, right? Like as I was saying, like I think the one of the first ones I remember is I want to say Oklahoma State partnered with probably Open Doors. I apologize if I got that wrong, but like we started seeing all these universities start partnering with marketplaces like yours to pretty much just show the athletes like, hey, we're here to help. Like if you come here, we're going to make sure that you're going to get on here. We're going to get you deals. We're going to get you brands. You're going to get either paid or free product. Like you will now be a part of it, which is just, man, you snap your fingers and something becomes legal. All these guys that hated this, these football coaches said this will be the end of college sports. Man, they're gung-ho for it now. But so I do think that there is probably something there. But again, it just comes down to money, Jason. I'm sorry for being cynical about it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Trust me. I'm like such a, yeah. I agree. University. I've told my wife, I'm like, I don't think our kid's going to go to college. I think it's a waste of money. You could learn 10 times as much on the internet these days. That's another conversation. Talk about our
But you
wives.
need
I
the
know we
piece
did
of
it in the
paper.
first
You don't
episode.
get the job if you don't have the piece of paper in like 9 out of 10 situations. So again, different conversation for a different. I'm very cynical on this stuff. So I don't positivity. We're all about positivity here, Jason. You know that. So let's get positive.
You get a job at Marketpryce without, that's fine. I don't care. I don't even know where, I didn't look at colleges you hired. I looked at honestly your Twitter following and just having that first conversation, right?
I
Like
only have about like
background.
400 or 500.
Going across
So
the background.
is that enough?
No.
Damn.
And your name's not Peter or Ashley or Evan. So
shit.
Sorry. No Michaels allowed.
Yeah.
What
if I went by Mike again? I used to do that back in the day.
You're hired.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right. So
welcome back.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. With that, I guess why are these athletes so coveted? Right? Like we're already starting to see, I think Master P's kid signed like a $2 million deal or something ridiculous. Never even heard of the guy. Shout out. It's essentially just to get his dad, I'm assuming. Bryce Young signed $800,000 worth of deals. He's seen over $1 million worth of deals. For anyone that doesn't know, because you probably don't, Bryce Young is the presumed starting quarterback at the University of Alabama. Never started a game in the NCAA yet. So he's already received signed contracts for $800,000. Again, Master P's kid over $2 million deal. Why are these athletes so coveted? And I guess maybe let's take it down to tier 2 to just like the twin volleyball players that signed a deal with Boost Mobile or whatever because they have huge TikTok following. Like, why do brands want these athletes so bad that they're paying them more money than like baseball players?
Yeah. I mean, I could speak. I think there's like 2 classic case studies that have happened. One are the Cavender twins, the Derek King deals, the Miami Gym deals. Those are like the super flashy July 1 at 12:01. That's like the Kings paying Harrison Barnes $100 million, right? Where it's like, see what we did here, and
we tried.
I'm not saying those deals don't work out. They probably will, right? They got a lot of publicity. Those are just like the let's go get that press and then let's worry about the rest later, because this is a historic opportunity, right? It's not often that college athletes, 500,000 people could do something for the first time. It's like prohibition got lifted, right? Like it's really similar. It's like the first time in history this happened, which is great. And it's super flashy. And look, we've done the same. Like we got Forbes to write a write-up on us because of this that launched on my birthday. Coincidence? I think not. We'll see. But I said, thanks for the birthday present. But it was about NIL. And it's like everybody just wants to talk about it. Everyone wants to see how much money are these kids making? What deals are they doing? What can we do? So I think that's one of like the flashy opportunities where we live. And this is where I see it being sustainable is these college athletes represent such a unique marketing asset. for these companies, right? And these companies spend a lot of money on affiliate marketing. They spend a lot of money on creating content and doing photo shoots, and a lot of money on, honestly, just digital ads, like advertising on Facebook and Instagram. College athletes have such a hyper local and super engaged fan base, right? Like if you work with a volleyball player at SMU, who else follows her? Other SMU athletes. Same thing with a soccer player at University of Illinois. Who follows them? Other people at Illinois. It's honestly the same thing with a guy even like Spencer Rattler, as big as he is. 50% of his probably 300,000 followers, the quarterback of Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
probably from Oklahoma, right? So for companies that want to advertise into these niches, that's something where these athletes, not only you can work with them, but a lot of the college athlete deals we're doing are in like the $100 to $700 range, like really, really affordable ways for brands to get content, high quality content, to be able to work with awesome ambassadors for deals, bring word of mouth, get awesome social media like engagement because everybody's paying attention to this, and even get press out of it too. So I think that's where it's like it's not just going to be the deals in July and then that's kind of going to dry up. I think this is going to be a really, really exciting opportunity for, I mean, years to come. We'll see. I can't think years in advance at a startup. It's like months in advance, but I think it's going to be an amazing. I know it's going to be an amazing opportunity for the smart brands out there to really invest in.
Have you seen kind of a downturn at all in like the number of deals or the size of the deals, or I mean, I assume it peaked very quickly. Has it kind of like settled out a little bit, or what does it look like in terms of that? If you can even talk
Contra-
about that.
See, contrary. Everyone's asking. No, I'm happy to share whatever. What for at least what we're doing, right? We democratize athlete marketing, as corny as it sounds, right? Like we
Love it.
tear down the barriers of entry for every brand. Any company in the world could sign up for free. You just need a credit card, right, to pay for these deals if you want to use it. But you could sign up to Marketpryce and be able to think to yourself, like, well, why not? Let's see which athletes like our company, whether it's a protein bar company, a water bottle company, or an investing company like public.com or Allbirds, like just shoes randomly. Like you're able to go on Marketplace, see which athletes want to work with you, which is exciting, but it's also intimidating. What do you do with these athletes? What's the return on your investment? What are the other people doing that I could run and kind of copy and take from? So for us, and that's what we're trying to hire, more people just to educate these brands, right? Like understand what brands are doing, what type of marketing goals are they trying to hit, and how can you leverage athletes and student athletes to really hit those goals. So we've actually seen an uptick as we've continued to educate brands on like how valuable, let's say, TikTok content is, how viral it can get if done right, how unbelievable college athletes are to work with. So that's why I'm so bullish on it. Like, yes, obviously we had the July 1 deals that were splashy and exciting, but I mean, we've had multiple brands where they've come to us and they're like, look, we have 10, 20, $30,000. Could even do this with a lot less. Let's work with a ton of college athletes. Let's just go out there. Let's be able to dip our toe in the water with this and see how, what we could do. How can you help us do that? So that's something that I think is really exciting. Like now the brands, the second wave of brands, where it's like, cool, let's let it
Mm-hmm.
sit, right? Let's let the Boost Mobile do the billboard in the city and Times Square. Hell yeah. Awesome. Now it's the smart brands where it's like, how can you triple my money? And how can I see a real return with these college athletes? That's the world that we're sitting in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's only going to get bigger, right? Because again, now as the more you
Yes.
educate people, again, please follow Marketpryce on Instagram. It's essentially, it looks like every day you guys have some educational information, what to do, how to do it, why to do it. For athletes, for brands, it's all over the place. That's really what made me think. I was like, hey, you guys are trying pretty hard. I'd love to have Jason come on again and just kind of talk about it some more. So please, I'll put everything in the show notes, of course. But if you're just watching us live, throw everything, just follow them. It's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I think it's just, I think it is going to get bigger. I assume there'd be a huge peak in the beginning because everyone was super gung ho, and then it kind of would go down and then make its way back up again. But it seems like, as you said, like, yeah, there was those really splashy deals, but now everyone's starting to understand, okay, no, this is totally fine. Like everything's cool now. Okay, we're not going to sign this guy to $2 million deal, but what can we do? How can we do it? How can we take advantage of it? Especially after a little bit of time of seeing what's happening. I think it's going to be great, man. I think it is great for the athletes, for the brands, for everybody. I just think it's just so weird. Because like in terms of recruiting, right? Like I'm wearing my Duke shirt right now for anybody, big Duke fan. It's kind of cool when everybody else hates you. I've never felt that feeling before until I became a Duke fan. So that was fun. But with that,
I love
like,
you, Mike. Don't worry.
thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. With that, like, I think it is, again, there's two sides of that conversation too. Like, oh, this is going to help the Iowa State, it's going to help the Iowa State Cyclones or whatever the hell they are more because, hey, they weren't able to recruit before, but now they can say, hey, look, we're going to be able to get you these deals, blah, 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 blah. And then other people are like, not really, because you're just going to go to Alabama, not start a game. The quarterback at Alabama is already making $800,000 a year. So there's like that kind of weird, I don't know. Are you a fan of college sports in terms of like the recruiting side and what you might think positives and negatives that could be?
Yeah, I guess my thoughts are a little less hot takey. Like I'm not
They
gonna
don't need to be
come
hot
in here and be
takey.
like,
I hate
this is
hot
my
takes.
thought.
Like we could just have a conversation, like a good conversation. I think that's better than hot takes, honestly, personally.
I totally agree. I mean, it's like a souped up. Everything's about storytelling, right? It's like how you leverage it, right? Like you could absolutely go the hot take route of like, this is absolutely the reason why you need to come to our college. It's basically like a souped up, like having a really cool like locker room and having
Mhm,
really cool facilities. And like what the thing is, we've seen a lot of athletes. Like there's this one dude, and it's not the best example because he just graduated, but in college he still would have killed it with this
mhm.
law. This guy Clifford Taylor, shout out Mike Raymond, who you introduced me to.
Hey,
Oh,
what's
nice, full
up?
circle.
What's up,
Yeah,
Mike? Hope you're
awesome
watching.
agent.
He's a cool dude.
Clifford's awesome, and dude, he's like a backup tight end. He was a walk on. Didn't end up playing professionally, but he's just an unbelievably creative guy, like super smart, super talented. And he's done some content for brands that brands are just obsessed with. And not even on Marketpryce, off Marketpryce. He could have went to UF, he could have went to Iowa State, he could have went to Des Moines, if that's even a college. He could have
It
went
shows his
anywhere.
college there.
With talent like that, it shines. Like that's something where it's like social media is just an unbelievable tool to leverage if you can make awesome content. And you could like the Oklahoma quarterback, the high school
Mhm.
kid that is now maybe going to skip high school, take maybe like one online class, and then be able to just go to college to monetize his NIL. I bet him having a blonde mullet is making him 20 times as marketable, and probably more. It's just the memorable guys like Zion. Why is he so memorable? Obviously, he's awesome. He wasn't even the number one guy. Like RJ Barrett was a better
Mhm.
recruit. He just had insane dunks and
Yep.
he was splashy and highlight really. So
Electric.
it's like electric is a great example. So I think depending on where you go, like I think it's a little bit overrated. I think NIL is an unbelievable aspect because look, you don't even need to be flashy. You could be the shyest person on the entire planet. If you love what you do and you teach classes, let's say you don't even have social media, you can make whatever it is, $100 an hour teaching athletes something that you love, teaching kids something you love. That's the real secret part of NIL. That's not as flashy, but that's going to be like who's winning here. It's not really either of us, right? It's every single student athlete. And like
Mhm.
that's the really exciting part about it.
Yeah, I think that it's just I completely agree with you. That's like a super underrated part because what is it? I think the women's gymnastics team at UCLA, like they have just insane viral content because their floor routines are just out of this world
Yeah,
fun and cool and interesting. And I can't
absolutely.
remember where I saw it, but I read it. They're like, yeah, this account alone is worth millions of dollars because of what they're
Yeah.
capable of doing. And you actually
Hmm.
brought up one last thing I did want to talk about before we hop off here. Half hour, so it's essentially the exact same amount as all the other episodes. So appreciate the conversation as always. But high school
You always
athletes,
try to get me off. Yeah.
I know
High
I
school
was,
athletes.
but
Go
I
ahead.
knew I couldn't get you off, Jason. You love this mustache too much. I wouldn't do that to you. High school athletes. One thing I've been noticing and seeing a lot more, our friends over at Front Office Sports had a pretty interesting piece about it the other day, was how now, because again, NIL is allowed for college athletes, that means these high school athletes can the high school athletes can monetize their name, image, and likeness as well because they don't have
Hmm.
to be worried about losing their scholarship, right? Like there's that
Hmm.
whole G League team that is specifically like, hey, we'll pay you X dollars for you to come here and you can pretty much just practice and not go to school. Why anyone would take that $300,000 now and not go to Duke and go to Kentucky, where again, how much money Zion would have made? Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because he was on
Hmm.
ESPN every other day. Like I
Yeah.
understand why people hate Duke, but he was there every other day. People want
Yeah.
to watch him again. Electric. But what have
Yeah.
you seen? Have you seen anything from your perspective on the high school athletes? Do you think that's kind of another wave that might be coming? Working with 15, 16-year-olds, they're hoop stars. They have 300,000 followers on Instagram because they've been able to dunk since they were 12. What are your thoughts
Hmm.
on that end as well?
Yeah. Like, look, I'm a fan of like a Mikey Williams guy, right? Like if he's electric, the basketball player that signed with Excel, who's a high
Hmm.
school athlete,
Yep.
like absolutely, that's fine. I do think it is a little bit. there needs to be better policing for it. Like, what's stopping Duke from paying Mikey Williams $5 million for one
Nothing.
tweet,
Pay him.
contingent on if he goes to Duke?
Pay the man.
No,
Get him there.
that's my point. But then it's like, so then Duke is just going to, that's where it's going to get risky, right? Like, then Duke could just pay every single athlete, like the boosters could pay all these high school guys to come to Duke. You
Do
know
it.
what I mean?
They're doing it already,
You're fine
Jason.
with that.
Get the
Oh,
hell
because
out of here. They're
you're
doing
Duke
it
fan.
anyway. Get out of here. Stop it.
I hear you, but no, but that, I don't know. I think
I
that
understand.
hurts the smaller universities, right? So I think policing that a little bit more. And like, look, I'm a Suns fan. DeAndre Ayton back in the day with Arizona,
Mhm.
my guy. Just because it's happening doesn't mean I'm personally a fan of it. And I think that's something where I don't know. I think policing it could go a long way, especially on the high school part of it. So
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
And I think it's a different aspect for brands too, right? Like working, like I did some dumb shit when I was 15. It just wasn't caught on social media, right? Like it's just one of those things where we didn't really, it wasn't really nearly as prominent back then. Now, like all these kids, for some reason, all these dang kids, they're just recording everything. And that kind of scares me as is. And then, yeah, you throw a brand in there, a McDonald's, let's say, they have a very specific brand image. They don't want some 15, 16-year-old they're paying. So I think I don't think it's going to be as big, but I do believe that there is a pocket of athletes, specifically, again, those hoop stars, that they're going to rake in money, and they absolutely deserve it. Absolutely deserve it. I think it's pretty impressive. But
I'm with you on that.
It's something, man.
Look, I'm with you on that. I agree.
If someone's going to pay you money, take the money and run, dude. Take the money and run. Anything else? I think this is a pretty substantial conversation. Where can we follow you? Where can everybody learn all the things that I've been able to learn the last 29 days, it looks like, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, everywhere that they can learn about, all the education you guys are putting down?
Yeah, well, I want to give a little teaser too, because I tweeted this out the other day, and I know you hate Twitter, so you probably didn't see it, but
Deleted
I
it,
thought it was
actually.
super
I feel so
interesting.
much better about myself. I love it.
Good.
So
You'll
sorry,
never get a
I missed
job at
that one.
Marketpryce then, I guess. But no, with I like one macro trend that I've seen is everyone talks about influencer marketing. Our entire conversation was based on influencer marketing, right? Paying athletes to do endorsements. That influencer marketing space is on pace for like $3 billion this year, which is, so to give you some context, right? Total digital ads, which is obviously massive, right? That's on pace for like $53 billion. So influencer marketing is still a drop in the bucket. I think something where, like, again, not to get too big picture here, but like Apple's privacy protection, brands not being able to invest in Facebook as much and seeing a real return, them having to spend their money somewhere. I think we're going to look back and be like, holy, I don't know if this is a safe program.
Say it.
Holy crap.
All right.
I know, I don't want to curse. So I just think that 3 billion out of 53 billion total digital ad budget, like, that's going to continue to increase, and that could easily double over time consistently, right? So that's something I'm excited about. To follow and get cool stuff like that, follow Marketpryce with a Y. Obviously, I'm rocking it for a video podcast, but yeah, go follow us on social media, whether you're a student athlete or an athlete or a brand that wants to like learn more about this, or just someone random listening to this podcast who thinks this is interesting. Go follow us. But yeah, that's it for my plug.
Make sure to follow Jason at Marketpryce. They do some really, really cool stuff. Sincerely, man, thank you for coming on again. And maybe, in a couple months, we're right around middle of football season, when we see some, maybe monstrous deals go through. I'm excited for the immediate, right? Like that immediate, like that kid went off, threw for 500 yards, ran for another 100, got 4 touchdowns. No one saw this kid coming out of Houston Baptist or something, right? And then immediately when I start to see that, that's when I think we're going to have some really fun, creative, interesting shit that's on the line. So should be pretty cool. So I'm excited for it, man. So maybe I'll have you on again.
This is live right now.
Yep.
The NBA draft is right now. What we did
in like 2 hours, I think. Yeah.
Follow us on social media, because what we do is we copy and like we look at the athlete's social media followers before they get drafted and after they get drafted.
Fun.
With NFL, it was nuts. We had athletes that had like 10,000 followers. 24 hours later, I had 6-figure followers, over 100,000 followers, because fans go fuck.
Yep.
That's why it's like it again, athletes trend like no other marketing asset. Ride the wave, take advantage of it. go to marketpryce.com and close the deals. Drop them.
Love it.
Let's do
Last
it.
little plug.
Yeah.
Jason, I appreciate the hell out of you, man.
I
Thank
love
you
it.
so much.
Thanks, Mike.